Hey, welcome to Casting Cues. I'm Bonnie Gillespie, and with me this time is Marci Liroff. What's been your favorite gig of all the dozens and dozens of major movies and also pilots and projects that you've been a part of? What would you call your favorite?
Well, asking me that is like, it's almost like asking me to pick my favorite child.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to say because all of these experiences have made up who I am today as a casting director and filmmaker. They've all taught me so much, and they were all great experiences. I obviously have a special place in my heart for E.T. I can still see that movie, and it still makes me cry. It still touches me. It has the feeling to me like The Wizard of Oz, which I can still watch, and it's like medicine for me. Yeah. Just the spirit of it is so strong. But that's not to say that a big movie is my favorite experience. Another favorite experience is this little indie that I did called the Spitfire Grill, which was a rare experience for me in that I remember reading the script and I read it in one sitting, and I have to say I do not often do that. It was so well written and so beautifully written that it held my attention. I remember just sitting on the couch all day, not all day, for an hour, and just pouring through this script and weeping at the end, and making and working on an indie, as you know. As a casting director, you have a lot of say. You're not governed by so many people in the mix. The financiers, the investors, were the Sacred Heart League, so it was a religious organization. They never made movies before. So they really depended on me to guide them through this experience. And I ended up co-producing this movie.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, you have a producer credit on several films. And I'd love to talk about what causes you to take producer credits on some projects and not others.
Well, at the time, I was interested in getting into producing, and so I was working on a film called Untamed Heart, which was originally called Baboon Heart. The title was later changed. Yeah. And Tony Bill, the director, is a friend of mine. I had done a film for him years ago. And so I was wanting to get into this field. And I remember going out with him to the airport. He's a pilot. And so we met for lunch at the Santa Monica airport. And I had this big speech planned. And I was going to lay out all the reasons why he should let me come and be an associate producer. And I launched into my speech that, Tony, I'm really looking forward, I really want to get into producing. And he said, great, you should come along. And that was it. And the next thing I knew, I was in Minnesota in the dead of winter, shooting 4 weeks of nights, exteriors. And so it was certainly one of those, be careful for what you wish for, because it was great, but it was grueling. It was really tough. And then the next thing I did was I was casting The Crush, and the director had already gone up on location for pre-production, and we weren't cast yet. And so I shot and directed the screen test for Alicia Silverstone and Carrie Elway, and was their acting coach. And so the studio, Morgan Creek, was impressed with this, and the director was somewhat newish, and so they thought I would be a good person to be up there for them to lean on if they needed, coaching and just to oversee things. So that's how I ended up there.
Well, now you mentioned coaching specifically on The Crush, and I want to touch on that a little bit because in addition to being a legendary casting director, you coach actors, and I'd love to talk a little bit about how that evolved for you, and also how you're using new technology to add to your ability to coach actors worldwide.
Well, it came about from the last few years have been really rough between this perfect storm of the writer's strike, which I was fortunate enough to be working through. I cast 2 movies as this was going on, but I knew that if I didn't have a movie at the end of this, I would be running into the actors' strike was about to hit. And even though the actors never actually struck, it turned into a de facto strike.
Exactly.
And the business just, for a feature casting director, just came to a dead halt. And then in September, the economy tanked. And when I say perfect storm, it was all these elements that just made everybody scared. It made people, money dried up. And so I was sitting there for quite a while thinking, what the hell can I do? And I knew it wasn't just me being singled out.
No, but you're like, I cast AT. Come
yeah,
on.
Exactly. But there just weren't opportunities. So a friend of mine suggested, why don't you coach actors? You're so good at this. You're great in the room with them. You've learned from some of the best directors. You're great in auditions. The directors always compliment me on, and so do the actors, on my reading talent. To help them with auditions, and I thought, all right, let me give this a try. I just got to this point where I started pushing myself into an uncomfortable zone. I feel like for years I've stayed in this very safe zone that I know, and I thought I have nothing to lose by trying this, and I feel like I have a lot of years of wisdom to help. And I got very frustrated with actors coming in to the audition being so unprepared. And they could be very well-trained actors, but the audition process is like a whole different animal. And I felt that I could really help educate with that. So I put out the word to all my agent friends and all my manager buddies, and word of mouth just spread, and actors started coming to me, and I realized I actually really enjoy this. I was the most surprised out of everyone. I really, really enjoy this. And I felt like I'm really instructing them on what we need to see in the room, and help them through that process.
That's fantastic. Talk to me a little bit about how you're able to help actors who aren't even here in LA to be able to meet with you.
Well, I'm kind of a techno geek, and I love all the toys, and the internet has just changed my business tremendously on so many aspects. We could go into that. But through Skype, we can actually virtually be in the same room together. And so I started advertising through my Facebook fan page that I am doing coaching on Skype. And no one really took me up on it at first. And then this 15-year-old girl in Texas was doing an audition for True Grit. They did a nationwide search looking for the lead in True Grit. And she contacted me and she said, I need your help. And we did it, and it was so easy, and it made perfect sense, and I was able to take her through both the scenes, and it was like she was in the room with me.
Well, this interview is being done on Skype, by the way.
Oh, yes.
We're not
actually together,
no,
really.
The technology's amazing.
So it's just a matter of embracing the technology, I think, and not being scared of it, and utilizing it in the right way. Like this, when I did Ghosts of Girlfriends Past, the director, Mark Waters, was already on location in Boston, and we weren't done casting yet. You know, they have to move off for pre-production many times before we're done. And many times I'm doing things, and the producer's in one country, and you know, we're not all together. So we literally set up an iChat, a video iChat, and we had actors come in to audition so that the director could kind of virtually be in the room. And so we set up my laptop iChat camera pointed towards the actor who was across the room. The director got on cell phone so that we could have a better conversation. This was actually before Skype was really being used, so that he could kind of see what was going on and give actual direction in real time. Now, of course, we were shooting it for real with a real camera, and then we uploaded the auditions to my website, and he was able to look at it in a better quality. It's great. I mean, it is great. I can have the director in another state and be doing auditions here, uploaded onto the website in a matter of minutes, and he or she can weigh in, and we can, you know, I've cast things off of this.
Thank you so much. All right, so check back next time for another episode of Casting Cues.